The past 7 days, 48 people have died from the coronavirus in Nigeria. It's puts the total number of deaths due to the coronavirus in the country at 176. Expectations are now rising on the total number of decisions that the president could take tomorrow. To share new insights about vital COVID-19 statistics in Nigeria is Babajide Ogusowo, Channels TV's data and information consultant. Welcome.
Good evening.
Still scribbling away. So more COVID-19 tests mean more cases, and more cases, unfortunately, sometimes translate to more deaths. How is Nigeria's survival metrics looking?
We're doing better than the global average, and I'll share a bit more about that later. But tonight, I have some good news. I've also got some mixed news, and I've got some bad news. I'd like to start with the good news. In Nigeria, every virus that has attacked the country, Nigerians have defeated, from influenza to SARS to smallpox to Ebola. But tonight, I'd like to go down memory lane. Let's take a look at what happened when HIV came into Nigeria. More than 3.5 decades ago, and if we take a close look at when HIV came, here's what you notice. November 1984, the introduction of HIV into Nigeria. 36 years ago. And Nigerians were worried, just like Nigerians are worried today, about a virus that had no cure or had no vaccine. But what has happened in the last over 3 decades? We've managed and we've fought and won HIV because of 3 words: practice, safe, sex. And so today, yes, the HIV still has no cure, vaccine, or treatment. But we fought that war and we've won. So that's good news. Now, there's even more good news. The evidence from the NCDC shows that 97% of all coronavirus cases in Nigeria are still alive. In other words, we have a fatality rate of 3%. And so, yes, this virus is dangerous, but a lot of Nigerians are surviving. So there are several ways to look at it, but tonight, I'd like us to look at the coronavirus in 3 different ways. And that's looking at the 3 categories of states that we have in Nigeria. The 3 categories of states that we have in Nigeria. In category 1, we have those states that each have reported more than 10 deaths. And we have 5 of those states. Most of those states in category 1 are located in the northwest of the country. So that's one way to look at it. The 5 states that have reported 10+ deaths: Lagos, Kano, Borno, Sokoto, and Katsina. That is really where the concerns are, the northwest and the southwest. Yeah. But here's what you notice when we take a look into the category 2 states. The category 2 states are states with 1 to 10 deaths. And you have 20 states, including the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, in that second category of states that have reported more than 1 death, but less than 10 deaths. But here's another perspective. The third category, states that have recorded 0 deaths. And in that third category, we have 11 states. Plateau was among those states, but Plateau now has recorded 1 death and it has moved to category 2. So in all, the summary is there are 5 states in Nigeria that have recorded more than 10 deaths. There are 20 states, including Abuja, that have recorded 1 to 10 deaths. And we have 11 states that have recorded 0 deaths. So that is some good news. That is really some good news.
Yes. When you think of it like that, it really sounds like good news. When you look at developed countries such as the United States, the number of deaths per every 1,000 cases is significantly higher than Nigeria. Maybe that has something to do with the population, I don't know. But is this because of also a difference in genetics, treatment, whether, I don't know, immunity or chance, or is there any evidence that points to why more Americans are dying? Because they are developed, they do have purportedly a higher health system.
Yes, they do, and you're right. But before any group or government or institution comes in Nigeria to claim credit of why we're performing better than the United States, I'd like to share some evidence with you, and I want you to listen carefully, please. One of the group of people that have the highest fatality regarding the coronavirus are the elderly, those that are above the age of 65. So the right question is...
Sorry, but a number of them are surviving the coronavirus now.
A number of them are surviving the coronavirus, but we know that those that have underlying symptoms and the elderly really struggle to survive when they are diagnosed with the coronavirus. So the right question is, how many Americans are living above 65? And then we look at how many Nigerians are above 65. And the evidence from the United States Census Bureau shows that 16% of America's population are above the age of 65. You heard me right, 16%. The National Population Commission in Nigeria says only 3% of Nigerians, only 3%, live to celebrate their 65th birthday. Here's what I mean. In Nigeria, most of those that the coronavirus would have killed are already dead. Does this mean that if you are below the age of 65, you should celebrate? No, it doesn't. But what it means is for the government to remember that there are many things that are killing Nigerians apart from the coronavirus. And so many Nigerians are not living to the age of 65. And that's really the mixed news. So we've looked at the good news, we've seen the mixed news. And finally, I'd like to share some bad news. The NCDC 3 weeks ago talked about its target, a target to test 2 million Nigerians within the next 3 months. Within the last week, the NCDC has only tested 8,000 people. What it means is, at the rate at which the NCDC is going, if it doesn't move faster, perhaps Jesus might be back before we get to 2 million tests. And so the lesson is, there's good news, there's mixed news, and there's bad news. And while the nation expects the president's decision tomorrow, the president now is seeing the good news, the mixed news, and the bad news. But like we started with the HIV and that Nigerians have defeated every virus, we have nothing to fear other than fear itself. Franklin Roosevelt. Indeed.
And of course, we still have to maintain social distancing and good hygiene. At the end of the day, we are responsible for our health. Thanks again, Baba.
Nigerians have to keep preventing because prevention is better than cure.
Exactly. Thanks again for showing up tonight.